Hey everybody, and welcome to Challenge Tuesday, where I go on a mission to try out different diet and drawing challenges. Today's challenge is to create a crunchy granola recipe using no oil or added sugar. So what's the reason for this? There are so many granola recipes on the market. However, most use sugars and high sugar syrups or vegetable oils, or even both, to give their granola a crunchy texture. If the granola is low in fat, it is high in sugar, and vice versa. The challenge is to make our own homemade granola with lower sugar and added oil contents. That way, you can adjust your own healthy fat content by adding nuts or seeds, and adjust the sugar content by adding fresh or dried fruit. To do this challenge, I made 2 different batches of granola. The ingredients used for both batches were 2 cups of traditional rolled oats, a 1/4 cup of almonds, a 1/4 cup walnuts, a 1/3 cup Queen's sugar-free blueberry maple syrup. This was to give a bit of sweetness while helping the granola adhere a little bit more without adding any sugar. There is a plain maple syrup flavor, which I actually like a little bit more, but I had run out. You could also use stevia syrup for a more natural alternative with much less sodium, and if you don't like blueberry or maple flavors. A tablespoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt. You can also skip this to reduce the sodium content. The only difference between the 2 batches was that the second had 6 tablespoons of aquafaba to make it crunchy. Aquafaba is an egg white replacement that is literally just chickpea juice. I'm not using eggs as I have a mild allergy to them, but 2 tablespoons of aquafaba is equal to 1 egg white. You can also add your own personalized toppings like seeds and dried fruit, but I'm more of a fan of fresh fruit as it fills me up a little bit more. The first thing I did was preheat my oven to 120 degrees Celsius. Then, using a hand mixer, I whipped up the aquafaba to soft peaks. I then poured in the sugar-free syrup while slowly mixing the aquafaba. The next step was to just add all the ingredients into a bowl and stir it up, 1 bowl with the aquafaba and 1 without. I poured these into 2 separate baking trays on baking paper with no oil. You can see the muesli with the aquafaba is a much wetter mixture than the other, and I was afraid that it would take a little bit longer to crisp up. I baked the 2 granola recipes in the oven for 1 hour, stirring every 20 minutes. When they are done, you can store these in an airtight container for 1 to 2 weeks. So they came out looking a little bit like potpourri because of that blueberry syrup, but I think it's pretty. So let's look at these 2 concoctions. When tasting the granola with the aquafaba, I was actually quite surprised by how crunchy it was. The blueberry syrup gave it a subtle fruity flavor, which was nice, and it was very yummy too. The other batch was very similar. It was tasty and still crunchy, just not as much. We can see the aquafaba created more of those clumps that granola is usually known for. If you were making a small amount, I'm not sure if you'd be bothered whipping up some aquafaba, but if you are making a large batch, spending a few extra minutes can make the texture better. So let's see the difference in nutrition between this granola and store-bought granolas. To make a good comparison, I chose a granola that contained nuts and no dried fruit. Making granola with dried fruit and less nuts will decrease the fat content and increase the sugar content, and slightly reduce calories. It's really up to you. So looking at the nutrition information of the 2, we can see that per 100 gram, the store-bought granola has 2090 kilojoules or 500 calories, while the homemade granola has 1504 kilojoules or 360 calories, with 162 calories per serve versus the 225 calories of the store-bought counterpart. The fat, sugar and carbohydrate content was also lower, with the store-bought having 12.5 grams of sugar per 100 gram and the homemade having only 5 grams. Using a stevia syrup would probably decrease the sugar and calorie content even more than this. So what do you think about these results and this recipe? Would you try something like this at home with that kind of difference in calories and nutrients, or would you rather just buy the product? Personally, I wouldn't mind making it again. It was pretty easy, and each batch has 7 servings, so I have about 14 servings of granola for the next 1 to 2 weeks. I like to eat my granola with low-fat Greek yogurt and tons of fruit, including berries and pineapple, and since my main meal during the day is lunch, I like to have granola at dinner. Leave a comment with your suggestions for more recipe and art challenges for Challenge Tuesdays. And remember, put your health first and subscribe second. Bye!